we're back. Done a little bit today. Too much. Mostly just some leveling and fissures. So these three are the frames I really want subsumed, and I don't have any of them. Don't have any available. Guess we'll just do Nyx. I'm so used to being fast on this frame, like whenever I see her, even though I don't have fast mods on, I just immediately feel very fast. Good enough. Cross her off my list. Oh, she was already crossed off, never mind. I haven't decided on Sevagoth's final build yet. I'm struggling with it a bit. So I think I'm pretty happy leaving the shadow like this. I'm not going to put an Umbral Forma into it because I don't really use it too often. Pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with this. Spiral Heat. I don't really get to use Healing Return too often. I know that the Shadow can heal with this too, but it's kind of nice healing on status because you have a relatively high status chance and attack speed. But you also have Forced Slash on the first strike in your combo, so it's super reliable. I think the only other place I've really used it is on Excalibur. And maybe a few melee weapons, but it's never really been optimal. But the claws deal so much damage that it seems fine to throw that on there. I've currently got more strength on here than I thought I would. So I think I had fleeting and I didn't have this. So now I'm wondering if I've polarized wrong and I should have a V here instead. Something like Rage. I don't know if I want Rage on here or if I should just put Flow in. I haven't really decided yet. I've kind of been liking this and I've been trying to play without Flow or Rage just to see how my energy goes. Seems okay most of the time. So I'm not really decided. Leveling some stuff. Kind of reminds me, I had a melee weapon. Okay. I had a melee weapon that I wanted to make from that Glassmaker quest. This one. Sword the fabled Orokin Executioner Nihil used to glass the condemned. Swing while aim gliding to glass enemies? I want to read the rest of that, but that seems interesting. I don't know how useful, but certainly interesting. Bapholite and Hesiperon. I feel like this frame is like right in the way. I don't think it's usually that close. Never mind. So I guess we'll let those build and we'll get that sword started. Another Umbral coming up. My list here. Warframe in, gotta do some Iris. I think the only night wave I've got to do is Airtans, so. Oh, the Bone Widow, right. I want to get this building today as well. Only needs 3. I needs, okay. It's 4 total. Namalon, Bapholite, and Admiral. Oh, I'm going to remember all 3. That's all I needed of that. Need Admiral, Namalon. Already building this. So I'll keep resetting those 3. This needs cranial foremount. Let's find out where that comes from. Building the Miso Tomata from the Cambion Drift. They come from caves in a hotspot. Processed foam required. Which I think I have. Maybe you just have to buy that. I swear I've got at least some. Guess I'll go and get that done first if I can. That's Orvome, so I can do it whenever. It's handy. I'm gonna do that first. It's not what I wanted. I think I could get my gear wheel. Yeah, so I've got 9. Probably do a lot of steel paths today too. Really been wanting to get that done. It's weird, I've been doing a lot of fissures with steel path selected, and even though the fissures aren't on the steel path, it's been unlocking nodes. Really sure the logic behind that. I'll take it. No idea which caves have water. We've got one spot. Doesn't really look like water to me, but sure. Yeah. Maybe above me and it's just fucking around. And I guess it's water. Give it a few minutes and find out. I don't know if it was too small to ever spawn anything though. I'm quite confident that nothing will spawn here. I'll grab this guy while we're here. What's up, Gash? Trying to get the Bone Widow building first up, which means I need to catch 2 very specific fish. So I need a hotspot in a cave. And obviously I have no idea which caves have hotspots. I don't think this one will, because this is the bounty. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a trankable animal in a cave. In Deimos, anyway. There's one kind of animal that I've only seen once. I'm curious if there's more that I haven't seen at all. Wrong button. To find what I'm looking for here. Yeah, I don't remember how I was pronouncing your name. Zinjo? 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 What's up? Zinjo is how I would naturally read that, I think. Ooh, this looks promising. Fishing rod. There's Voam, right? Processed Voam. Really as deep as I would like, but if it's giving us a indicator. That's the one I needed. Yeah. Interesting that it was Orokin. So I think I may only have needed the one because of my resource booster. Kind of collect ways people try to pronounce it. Interesting hobby. Yeah. I've only seen the Orokin fish on Fortuna. I'm assuming we get 1 per fish. So I don't know if it's guaranteed or not. Go check that while I'm here. Looks like I should get 2 per fish. What's up, Deli? I want to look at the companions that the sun does as well. Not sure if I have to do any work to get all them building or not.
Be careful with the first incision. One clumsy moment. Excellent job. Until next. I'm not just someone's daughter. I'm Kaylee.
Combination of the
All the people to name me. See you soon.
audio here and my music was making some really weird sounds. Anyway, sun.
I have the honor of a name and a little taste of freedom. Whatever
So I need a mutagen and an antigen.
Keep at it.
And then I have everything I need for Predacite. And I've already done the Panzer, so I've got everything I need here too. So now I just want to make sure I've got all the blueprints, which I have written down. Ones I was going to try at least. Which I guess I can show you. Hang on. So things I have to do. All the frames I still need for Helminth and where to get them. Everything I need from Samaras, which turns out to be a lot more than I thought it was. Lich and Sister Weapons. Go visit Ergo. Arbitration. And the pets. So I know what components I need to make them. I don't really know much about the hounds yet. I think I need to get more components from the sisters before I can actually make any. I'm going to try these. So that gives us a D polarity, and it makes their flesh type robotic. So I think I did alloy on my current one. I'm going to try robotic. Just because it's resistant to slash and toxin. I think heat. It's not these two. Way cleaner than your sheet. That's Desus and Fija. Ren. Mana, which I already have. So Dendrite Blasphoma. Hang on. Let's actually do that again. Being deliberate, the grind, yeah. So this needs cranial foremounts too. So I'll be able to build one today. Dendrite Blasphoma, I have no idea what that is. Little note. Dendrite Blastoma. In per. Ignore that one for now. Do they both need that, or am I just an idiot? They both need it. Okay, so they both need all the same components. I guess that makes sense because they're the same thing but for different pets, different breeds. Well, I better look up where the hell to get that then. Can be obtained by filleting Deimos fish, Barbiesto or Vitrio Spina, apparently. Have a look at them real quick. One's uncommon, one's common. We want a cave. Fast or Voam, so just a cave with no bait. Barbiesto. I'll get a couple of them.
Farewell. Just see you around.
Annoying. I'd like to at least get one pet started today. I didn't really take note of where that cave was either. So go to this one. It's good. Is this the same one? Chill for a minute, see if we get any spawns. Nothing I can do to make it quicker. So I think the drop chance booster affects fish. Come out of the wall. Apparently it affects fish spawns, and I do have that, so... Barbiesta is the guy I was looking for. I don't know how many I get per fish. But not many. One per fish. So I'm getting two fish per capture. And I need 16 total, so I need to catch 8 fish. Catch everything else while we're here, but we need 8 of the barb guys. I can never tell if they're underwater or just flying in the air, because you don't really get like a distance gauge when it's just lit up with dye like that. And I never had that problem before I was using dye. But to me, that guy is glitched in the wall far away, but I think he's just floating right within arm's reach. Of course, we're getting all the rare and uncommon ones and none of the common ones. It's a bit better. I hate this stuff. Tend to throw plat at people after a while. I don't think I've ever bought any fish stuff. There was a time that I would sell mercury. I actually enjoyed fishing before the dye became a thing. And then the Oxylus made that worse, obviously. Just unlimited dye. When it first came out, you would have to aim. Yeah, let's see if... I assume there's still sound effects in this mode. Actually not hearing them. So when the planes came out, you would aim and you could hear bubbling in the water. So because you couldn't really see the fish, you would listen in, sort of triangulate and find them. And of course you're trying to fish these guys at night, so you can't see much. A lot of fun working the system out. I would spend the full night cycle out there just fishing for rep. No dye. That's why 90% of fish float. I mean in the air. Because all fish float in the water. Notice that fish are glitched. Do not show their text above the fish if you mouse over. If you get text, it should be fishable. Yeah, it does happen a lot. Wasn't sure what you meant at first, but yeah. Maybe that's part of why I'm assuming these guys are so much further away than they are. So I've got 20. I think that's enough. Pretty sure it is.
what you're doing, so I'll let you get on. A practice team. You know where to find me.
Get that done. I don't think I have to talk to anyone here. Our minerals going again. I guess I'll have to look at those names again. Sup, Raccoon? Still have to do Samaras, but we're working on getting Bone Widow started. So I had to do a bit of fishing and mining for that. That's not the page I want. And I want to get some of the pets started through Sun and Deimos. We're just working on building the components for that. So Dessus. This one. Iran. Did I not buy that? I swear I bought that. Maybe I wrote it down wrong. Apparently I just didn't buy it. Can I have a look? Could have sworn I did. Maybe I just started freaking out about the resources. I didn't actually do it.
I have the honor of a name and a little taste of freedom. Whatever you're doing out there, Tenno, I look forward to your return.
I don't think I need any more grandma tokens.
You shiny thing.
I haven't really gone around all the vendors here and double checked. Now, these are only 60 seconds, so we can go and get a pet started basically right now. Or I guess two. One Predacite, one Orphifiler. What do I need for that sword? Yeah, we can get that started. I'd like to read the rest of this. Wait for that and then we'll go. It's fucking 4 mounts. I actually need more of them. Already building all this other stuff. So I guess we got to do a little bit more fishing. I'll get the pets building. Wasn't it like revivification or something they called it? I'll get that started anyway.
I have the honor of a name and a little taste of freedom. Done.
Exactly sure what the other one does, but
Congratulations, Tenno. The creature
so
is
that was the
saved.
Predacite.
So begins a beautiful friendship. forward. Very well. There. The creature is healthier than ever, and looking superb with it.
2 more started.
Now, see you around.
Need 2 more of that rare fish. Which I already forgot the name. I think it was one of these 2 caves here. I think this one actually. Processed foam. Wait. Yeah, I'm worried that I'll run out of Jesus. I'll run out of stuff to do. Droid? That's the main reason I went through and made my list. Antigens are polarities on pets. Iranon is Vazarin. Yeah, I went through and looked at all that. I think I usually end up throwing a few Ds on every companion anyway, so free one seems good. Just wasn't sure what the other one was. I think I built a few at random to begin with, before I really understood what I was doing. Do you suggest putting Vile Acceleration on Trumna? High quality of life mod for the gun? I think I've only got half mods on here at the moment, so fire rate definitely feels a bit lacking. I think I'm looking for the Mayo Tosamata. Mayo Stomata. I think I may have enough already. I don't want one more though. Every time I see that, I think it's a fish. And I end up spending the whole stream in this damn cave. Thought that was a weird thing I could trank for a second. I just fucked up some fish. Bait expired. Hopefully that'll refresh the spawns. Come on, game. What? Why did the one I need spawn aggroed and run into the wall? Thank you. I don't know why it's worth 0.1 points. That's a problem we had with Fortuna. I was doing the glyph challenges, it was... You had to get the biggest fish, which was fine in the plains. But then the Fortuna ones, never consistent. Clearly they didn't fix it for Deimos either. Hopefully that's all we need.
You know what you're doing, so I'll let you get on with it. I'd appreciate being a practice team. You know where to find me.
Bone Widow. Still need a few more alloys. Guess we're one more short. So wait for that and then that'll be done. Guess until tomorrow, yep. Take out Umbral Forma. Would you say the Sevagoth Forma grind is worth it? I think it really depends what kind of player you are. If you are someone that is going to be using your shadow a lot, then sure, because the damage the shadow puts out is ridiculous. Definitely the best claw weapon, so I guess if you like playing Baruch and using his 4, or Valkyr, then Sevagoth is better than those two. Maybe not combined, but definitely better. But if you're just going to be using him for Gloom, then I probably wouldn't even bother putting Forma into the other stuff. I find in the natural course of play, I almost never use his 4. Unless I really want to be playing as the Shadow. It doesn't really seem to happen, so... If you're light on Forma, I wouldn't say it's worth it. If you're a psychopath like me, who Formas the shit out of everything, then yes. 27th dev stream is giving Umbral Forma? Is that the next dev stream, or...? So I got 4 Forma in the Shadow. 7 in the Claws. Holy shit, I didn't realize I'd put that many in there. Then 4 on the Frame, but I'm going to need 2 more, I think. I wouldn't say Sevagoth is better, it depends on the build. I would say that there is no situation in which Sevagoth would deal less DPS than Valkyr. I think Valkyr is very gimped now. And I think Sevagoth will be able to scale his melee damage much more than Baruch, but Baruch is probably better for clearing crowds still. So I guess, depending on the situation, Sevagoth definitely does more to a single high-level target, but Baruch is probably better for something like, you know, clearing low-level survival or something. Especially with the forced slash procs on his... at the start of his combo, kind of makes him ridiculous. 27th this month. Guess I'll write it down. Oof. Almost deleted my whole file. I'll look into that. I don't really watch their streams, but damn, Umbral Forma is enticing. True. 2 PM, what time zone? And it won't matter, they'll put it in the alerts here, right? Eastern time. I don't know what their time is. 2 PM Eastern. Obviously their time. If you mod your melee weapon correct, it gives more bonus to Frame's exalted weapons. I can only think of the mods with the critical chance set bonus doing that.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized.
Let's go to the sim real quick.
Cry out in thanks. If
Get rid of this guy now. I'm curious to see the dodge effect on the other Wolfifiler. Apparently Ellie really likes it. So I'm going to go Viral Heat. I also think I have to kill Trash before I can use my 4, right? I'm still not fully accustomed to his abilities. Oh, the reload on that weapon is awful. Forgot about that. So, slash proc on your first hit. Guaranteed. You can obviously use your 3, which gives you even more damage. Pretty solid damage, way better than Valkyrie now. Couldn't do that with Baruch either, but Baruch pretty solid for general clearing. I'm a huge fan of his 1, I have to say. Like I threw half of them off the map, but I really wish I had the other Simulacrum that doesn't have all the... Oh, they were spawned up here again. They didn't have all these holes in the floor. But most of the time I'd say I'm just using him for his gloom anyway. Yeah, I just killed him at 17 to build my meter up real quick so that I could jump into the 4. At 175 is the highest I can spawn him. Valkyrie I found to be severely underpowered since coming back, which is sad because she was best girl for a long time. Up there with Emma and Nova. Would rank Valkyrie Talons higher because of the higher damage while sliding? I don't know. Oh, that's right, they fucked with Fury too. It's annoying. So I think I would have had Fury and Berserker is what I used to have. So I guess I could have Heat there now. Probably have Heat here. Really don't like this change, drives me nuts. Quickening, a good replacement, yeah. I think I can fit it now, it's 9 now. I don't really consider slide damage for builds. I don't have... I used to have a macro for it when it was the meta. Arc is now reduced to Warcry builds. That's how I felt. I felt that these Talons were so subpar. It's kind of sad. 8 Forma up here. Yeah, looks like I've swapped back to Cry build. I think red crits is what I enjoyed most with her. Spin to win meta. Different times. That's definitely where my Tilos Boltes got all its kills from. Back when I had a 4 slash proc on spin, you would have a macro to spam the absolute shit out of that. Got the arcanes, that's alright. I'm not playing it now. I think I have to go and do... I guess I'll do Samara straight up. Just gonna get that done. Turns out I still need a lot from him. I feel like I need to do some Steel Path on Sevagoth just to work out the energy efficiency. I haven't really been doing much of that off stream. Rip Atarax, spin to win. Yeah, so I went Tilos Boltes, then to the Atarax. And then just completely nerfed, I think. That's an example of nerfed into the ground. True. They're definitely prone to being overzealous with their nerfs.
But I am unable to pinpoint their exact location. Search them out if you are willing to shoulder the added risk.
Not sure if there's a path through that tile or not. Never mind. I think it's that same tile that I had never seen until yesterday. People are running so they can start guiding me now. Oh. That guy went into the abyss. Where the hell? You got people going every which way. There we go. I think that's actually a different tile, and I just hadn't seen that one before either. I think we will get the outside tile this time though. Yeah. didn't realize it was actually 2 parts you could scan. Good to see Eclipse not working. So temperamental. I swear it worked with me standing right here yesterday. Got him just before he went alert. So I think I still need like 1,000,000 rep. So it turns out I'm going to be doing this way longer than I thought. Didn't actually add it up, but those still think I need basically half of what he sells. Indeed. Was amusing when the AI fucks up like that. There must be like a day-night cycle here or something for Eclipse to be doing what it is. I wonder if that has any influence on which extraction tile I get. We'll be getting close, 55. There it is. I'll write that down. Stealth snapshots light level? I did not know that. Thank you. That's actually a really nice little trick. Can't think of how else I would utilize it off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's other ways. That makes a lot of sense. So I guess spawned on the inside tile, which counted as in the dark, as opposed to spawning on that little asteroid that you do, which would be the opposite. It's pretty cool. Certainly happy to have an answer, because I was just thinking that something was busted. Definitely not the Stalker, but I'll take an Acolyte.
Now get to extraction.
It's Eclipse that is affected. Yep. I have to go and spend some rep, otherwise I'll waste it tomorrow. I don't think I've found a use for secondary dexterity yet. If you helmet that on a stealth frame, you have more control over the buff than on Mirage. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I think people were lobbying for having a toggle on Mirage for a long time. Yeah, you don't care.
These can make you an even stronger hunter.
That's what I need, Limbo. Let's buy the Limbo stuff.
What offerings will this item help you bring to the sanctuary? May this aid you in the synthesis of many creatures. What offerings will this item help you bring?
Limbo done. So the rest is just 4 blueprints, which are all 50. And the Odinata. Holy shit, every piece of the Odinata. That's 100k? Yeah. Nothing else to buy right now. So I'll get those Limbo parts building if we can. $32 argon crystals. I don't remember what I was doing to be getting that, but nice not to have to go and farm it. Sevagoth. So Nightwave, Steel Path, Bone Widow's building, we can clear that out. So you can't see. It's probably just going to be Steel Path today. I guess we can maybe go and get another sister. I gotta look into how to get this exactly. Like, you can get it from defense rotations on Railjack. I think you can also get it from doing like the optional missions. So that would probably be better. Rep sells for negative 75% in plat. Not sure what you mean by that. I had a strange idea that I'm planning to do, making my own apple juice at home. Why is that strange? It's I think we'll be able to kill some Steel Path. It won't be super efficient though. Most people just buy it rather than make it. I think there are a lot of health freaks out there that make it. Their smoothies and whatnot. Tips damage buff and damage reduction is a hard thing to test. I found out since it scales on power strength and light exposure. So the randomness of the light exposure is the real problem. I think if I go to these, it won't be the frame doing any of the work. It'll just be Ancient Healer keeping everything alive. What MR are you? 29? I think I hit 29 a few days ago. What do we get from selling Cephalon Ret instead of getting the frames, right? I'm not sure what the ratio would be.
Music, and the enemy calls for a song.
Location reached. Drop me in and defend our position.
I've been trying to level this gaze pretty aggressively. So I want one on... I'm trying to test 2 engineers on the Railjack. And I want both to have this weapon maxed out. So I think I've got the Cycron. I think I had another secondary as well. I've really been focusing on this. Wow, so I actually run out of energy in Steel Path. So maybe I will have to throw Rage on him. My healer got dragged away.
Proceed and prepare. There is a terminal. Get me in and get ready to defend.
Sup, Pixel?
I'm in, Tenno.
I don't trust this guy. Nope. Get caught him that time. Yeah, I don't really know how the math works for her. Not really too concerned about it. I find it pretty rare that I need damage buffs like that. Unless I'm trying to do some kind of boss. Like the Prophet Taker. Certainly struggles against the heavies. Damage increase is noticeable. You make them vulnerable with his one. Enjoying the Vermisplicer? Well, I'm using the Gaze at the moment. I finished the Vermisplicer primary yesterday. That's pretty good. I don't know how much I really like it though, because it just feels a bit clunky.
I'm in, Tenno. This will take a moment.
Damn, that guy is one tanky boy. Running out of ammo with that. I've never had that be a problem before. That's not a good sign. Blind. I was running it for a long time yesterday. I feel like it's... I mean, it is very good, but it's just below the level of... so I've sort of been ranking weapons as overpowered, so I can keep track of all the ones that are really good, and I feel like it's just below that threshold for me. So I pretty much only use Pax Charge. Maybe that's what happened, and I was using Pax Charge until now. Won't running corrosive on beam weapons be better? In what way? I would usually have heat on here as well, which I don't currently. Agree that you really need huge buffs like Eclipse, but it is fun when teammates ask why you have 100%. I mean, you have to have... I don't talk to my teammates ever. Beam weapons are the type that benefits most from that. How do they benefit more from that than any other weapon? Didn't the Flux Rifle get a buff / new version? There's the Tenet Flux Rifle, which is apparently crazy good. I think it... I don't know if it changed or if it has an AoE at the point of contact. I don't remember. One or the other. I haven't got it yet, so... Because the status gets applied an inordinate amount of times. But why does that matter? Corrosive can't fully strip armor anymore. It's pure single target? Well, then that seems like a downgrade, no? Try that again like that. See how we go. Infinite range? Alright. It's annoying. I feel like I need to throw another V in here. So I need to turn this into a V. As I sort of unthinkingly... I thought I had an idea of what the build would be, but then I found that I prefer having this instead. But I do think I want Hunter Adrenaline in here. So that has to be a V, and probably this has to be a V. Or just both of these. If I polarize it right now, he's not going to be very helpful for what I'm trying to do, is he? I have no abilities now. Could use flow. Yeah. I really like the feedback loop of taking damage gives me energy, which is then consumed to create an aura that gives me health. Quite like that. It's like the gaze will be carrying us here. Hey, having to form over existing polarities. Not the nicest feeling. Do what you gotta do, though.
These foes deserve your respect. Honor them.
This is gonna be a slow mission. I'm curious if the other Wolfenfiler will live longer, because I feel like this one is constantly dying and regenerating. What melee do I have? No, the nunchucks. Not really a fan of nunchuck stances. Surprising that D hasn't implemented a method to convert 4 Forma into a single Mega Forma, which allows all 4 mod polarities to be compatible. We've got that for stances, right? Stances and auras, basically. I guess that's what you're saying. Create that for regular slots. You can't buy Umbral Forma. Can you buy Stance and Aura Forma from the market? Because you would think creating that and doing what you just said would be a pretty good way to get more platinum. One Umbra Forma to craft it? So I showed off this hiding place the other day. Secret room up here. There's one in the elevator as well. Like that's probably one of the lesser known ones. This specific elevator. Secret room back here. I think you can bullet jump up to it. Another cool little place. It's exactly how D would design it. I mean, I would probably use them if they're implemented. Certainly make me buy more regular Forma. So I already can't keep up with my Forma expenditure by building them. I don't know if I can kill this guy. Got me. Could you be any more annoying? That was the slowest wave I've ever seen. Bruce Lee the shit out of him. Apparently this plague style will be different. Do we know any details on that? New weapon in the store is all I know. And the reason farming that was bearable for me last time was because we were speedrunning it. I think we were down to 6-minute runs solo maybe. Wish I had a group for it. I feel like it would be a lot less painful for sure. It was never really bad pubbing it. But if I'm trying to stay sane, I feel like speedrunning helps a lot. And the problem with that is you have to be putting in maximum effort the whole time you're doing it. It's very intense mentally. I don't think my other weapon could kill here, right? Cat just saved me. Not sure what I've got on this. Corrosive heat, it looks like. So not good against robots. Not good against shields, I guess. Trying to find a grenadier guy somewhere. Yeah, not quite ready for that yet. What's up, Mogul? Slow fire rate for such a high magazine. I don't have any rate mods on there yet. I'll definitely be putting one on. Second Acolyte, because I'm taking so long to do this exterminate. Ooh, I've been bubbled. Okay, bubbled again. That guy's been messing me up a lot. Definitely tried to roll out of it and didn't work. I noticed it working sometimes and not other times. I wonder if you actually have to be able to roll as opposed to doing the weird dash thing that I'm doing. To go. True. Although if I was going any slower, like this is definitely the longest I've spent in an exterminate mission. These weapons are so ridiculous.
The enemy is dead. Well done. Now get to extraction.
Just looking at his combo. Curious what his heavy attack is, actually. He just slaps you with it. Don't shoot Malice. Melee him. Just like how Sevagoth's dash also has the unique sound. Jesus. 1300% accuracy. Well, all the dashes have a unique sound, right? And I dislike all of them. I think I would dislike the animation a lot less if there was no sound with it. Like with the frequency of how often I roll, I don't want to be hearing that every 2 seconds. It's annoying. I'm not sure how good that was for affinity. Decent but not crazy. Not worth the time invested for sure. Pretty accurate, yeah. Melee only? Well, I don't know if I would be able to do much with my melee currently. It's the other planet, Neptune. We're going to struggle here equally. What's up, Wing? Making lunch and these onions making me tear up. They're so good. No pain, no gain. Eat. Tenno is so dangerous. Malice sends bullet damage back to you. With his bubble, yeah. Supposedly I can roll out of that. Is there a life hack that if you wet the knife you won't cry when cutting onions? I don't see why that would help. I bought a pair of onion goggles once just to piss off my partner, and they're basically sunglasses, but they have like foam padding. So sunglasses, and they have like a foam ring of padding all the way around the eye line. Put them on, and it's like actual goggles where it like compresses to your face, so you can cut without the fumes ever touching your eyeballs. She's not very impressed whenever I use them, and I only use them to elicit that reaction. Top 5 frames in your opinion, and what are they best used for? Yeah, swimming goggles would be a better version of what I bought. Top 5 frames, probably Banshee. Just for a stupid damage. Just doing a refresher here. Sarka Nova. Obviously for her 4, but also for speedrunning with her 3. So, very solid damage increase for the whole party. Good survivability because everyone's slowed way down. Nuke on her 2, DR on her 1, speedrunning on her 3. Pretty solid. I don't know, like niche things like Necros, obviously. Who else stands out? I guess Rhino stands out for a new player perspective. Any new player gets that, they can they become a lot more able. The damage buff, good survivability, good crowd control depending on how you build it. Good synergy with his augments. So you can play him at basically any level. That just jumps out. Maybe Korra, maybe Mesa. Excal's probably up there. Pretty big fan of Baruch too, to be honest. I might even throw Baruch in there. I've been using him a lot for his stupid survivability with his 3. Very flexible with his 2 for stealth. For stealth and crowd control. And then his 4 DPS is really solid for even Steel Path. Pretty impressed with it. Korra for loot farming. Pretty solid crowd control. Pretty solid damage. Avara's the obviously go-to stealth frame. Pretty hard to narrow it down to 5, I would say. There's so many like niche use cases. Mace is obviously very good. Nez is very good. Wisp is definitely a top 5. I really like Wisp, but I don't know if I would top 5 her. Like her 1 is probably one of the best ones in the game. I find her 2... The 2 and her 4 are mostly irrelevant. Her 3 is pretty good. So her 1 being really good and her 3 being pretty good is enough to carry her to like a high tier, but I don't know if I'd put her top 5. And just my 500% power strength. Permanent invis if you're jumping around, I guess. I don't know. Pretty hard to say. That is a lot of strength. What about defense? I am on the Amisha, so it's basically free. I think all my weapons are unranked though. I don't think I get frame XP for doing Arcwing, do I?
Your weapons make music, and the enemy
Get some energy real quick.
song.
I suppose if you build her for with the aim glide mods to get silly flight time, it's not really necessary because you've got like a 0.2 of a second to re-jump before you lose your invisibility, so you can still just spam it. It's a neat trick. It's what her 4 is useful for, yeah. Loki, disarm, disappear, move, defense, target. Yeah, pretty solid. Yeah, 4 gives you the Amisha's 4 Vengeful Rush. Well, let's have a look, right? All damage taken is transformed into energy.
Continue to defend.
Abilities to gain enhanced range, duration, and power. So you just turn it on, start smashing yourself against the wall for the bit of damage. Just make sure you don't turn your 1 on because that makes you invulnerable. Never had the crying issue with onions, my eyes are just built different. Very badass. Mine definitely do water. It doesn't bother me too much. Waypoint not updating fast enough. I've got my 1 on. Wondering why it wasn't working. I don't know if my 3 stops it actually. I want to find that out. So 3's on, 4's on. I got full energy from being shot. God damn it. No. So you can channel your 3 infinitely.
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
So you're completely invincible for the duration of Amisha's 4. No, you still take damage, but if you take 10 points of damage, you get 10 points of energy. But you use your 4 to get energy, which you can then turn on your 1. Intercept enemy fire, so you get, it's basically the same as Revenants 2, so you get 26 charges of taking no damage. So as long as you have energy and you can recast a 1, you can never take damage. Where am I going here? Isn't that where I came from? It's also nice because the 1 removes hitting the wall damage, so I don't get staggered every time I smash into a wall.
Let the enemy destroy the satellite.
Never has to play that shitty animation. Let's get rid of my charges. You see I'm bouncing off. Now if I'm trying to race around. Okay. Maybe they removed that. You used to stagger and have to play an animation when you hit the wall. That used to be a big draw to why you would use her 1. Haven't really played much Archwing since returning, to be fair. It's pretty hard to take damage with Amisha's 3 active anyway, because everyone's slowed by, like, what percentage? Everything's slowed by 80% in a 500 meter radius, so enemies are not particularly scary. It's still good in open world for sucking up loot. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the only use the Itzel has now. There's nothing else it can do that I find the Amisha can't do better. Still exists, but you have the 3 on, which makes you immune. Okay. I didn't realize I did that. Sentimental ties. Yeah. Definitely a sad day when they nerfed the shit out of his blink. Disruption, excavation, defection. None of the above particularly good for this Warframe. Maybe I should just go and do like go and do some fissures or something to level up a bit. Some levels and then I can do that stuff. course, there's no one doing this one.
Your mission is to break into enemy data vaults and
I swear this was a crossfire.
files you find. There are gold fishes in the area.
Whenever I think of crossfire, it's just an exterminate. I swear that's how it used to work. Crossfire was its own mission type. You just go in and wipe out 2 factions. Seems to be different since coming back.
Be on the lookout for new security measures. Extraction with no alarms.
I usually get these full before I finish them. Seems to have picked the one that nobody's interested in. Jumna needs a lot of fire rate. Yes, it does. I'm kind of scared what the recoil will be like when I finally put it on there, but I wonder why I couldn't damage them. They're standing there with the shields up.
Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
Put stabilizer on the Exilus mod. Seems like such a waste. We'll see how bad it gets.
Trigger the alarms now and they will start destroying the data.
Not a huge fan of the gun so far.
It's gone. Target console is nearby. If you trigger the alarms now, the enemy will start destroying data.
My brain always tells me the wrong direction.
Extracted. They won't even know it's gone. We have everything we came for.
Looked it up. According to the wiki, the Crossfire spy and rescue missions were introduced in late 2015. I still would have been playing then, I think. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, I just remember Crossfire being, whenever you do it, it's only ever an exterminate. It'll always be two factions fighting and you just go through and wipe them out. And that's the end of it. I've never, at least I don't remember ever having to do, you know, spy or a capture in a Crossfire type mission. With Trumna, it's irrelevant. It does so much damage with its alt fire. So I also remembered it, yeah. I don't really understand how the alt fire works on this gun. It's like shooting like a big bouncing grenade or something. I was leveling a lot in the open worlds, doing some bounties, and it didn't feel very consistent. Sometimes it did a lot, other times it did nothing. See if there are people in capture, surely. Skip the grenade off the ground, yeah. That's what I ended up doing, but sometimes it didn't seem to do anything. I don't know. See how it works when it's fully modded.
You found the fissure. Look out for reactants. Scans indicate our targets in the state of fire. The enemies are dropping reactants. We're going to need more reactants.
You can hear Gorse pulsing.
Capture them quickly before they escape.
At least his ability. Trumna is the Acolyte one-shot kill.
Captive back in place. Your part is done here. Undetected, a lot of security forces have been Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
I wonder how the Railjack crew handle having the recharge on the weapon. They're not going to wait for it to fully recharge, are they? They're just going to hold it down. And then when you run out of ammo, it's just going to be pulsing. Like that. I don't really feel like I can trust them with it. Take that, I guess. Incredible with the CC frame. I mean, someone like Nidus to bunch him up.
Mission complete.
Just give them AoE weapons. It doesn't really work when you're doing fissures, because nullifiers spawn and fuck them up. Best weapon I've found by far is the gaze for dealing with everything. But I guess I just won't give him that arcane. Try and exterminate. Beam weapons for crew, yeah. Basically built 3 gaze with all the same parts and polarizing them all to give to the crew. Fuck's sake. Why though? Gave my on-call Kuva Nuclear 60% with 150 secondary critical chance bonus. Very nice. I don't really take the on-call side of it too seriously. Oh, I should put a different pet on. I need to remember to do that. The only time I think I really use it is for the junctions, and not really because I need to, but because I think it's ridiculous having a Fortuna crew member come in and wipe out a Warframe in 2 seconds. Can I get out? Yes. Bit of a dick move. Crew can use the envoy. I don't even have that for myself yet. I caught a Lich to put in the crew. She was okay. Her abilities are really good, but her weapon damage is not that great. The unmodded envoy. The combination of her and the engineer with the gaze, the ship could never die, the crew could never die. I want to do some testing with multiple engineers.
Another successful mission. Find extraction.
Works very well for profit taker cycling. On the crew member or just for yourself, you mean? I don't think I have this yet. Axamati?
Another job well executed.
Crew member can take down profit taker shields instantly. Very interesting. Wonder if that could be useful in a speedrun or not. Rank 29. Quite there yet. Frame's only 16. Axamati high crit, yeah. I'm sort of second guessing myself now. I feel like maybe I do have it.
Eliminate all corpus threats.
Can't look here apparently.
There are void fissures in the area. Use these to crack open them. You found a fissure. Look out for
I haven't really found myself using any kind of weapon that shoots just regular old bullets since coming back. It's all beams or explosives.
Don't forget the reactor.
Still need a fair bit of affinity for the next level.
Open the relic. Finish your mission.
Went through and did some testing on the Brighton Prime. It still performs well, but everything else is just so powerful now that it's not amazing by comparison. Which is sad because that was my old favourite weapon. Galv mods are good. Oh, they're good on everything, aren't they? Tenora Prime is decent and might feel similar. The regular Tenora was pretty good. I think I had a Riven for it for a while there. I don't know if I've got this or not. I mean, maybe that came out after. Gwendal Prime? The Gwendal was an upgrade from the Orthos, but maybe Prime is beyond that. It came with Nezza. I don't remember if I've got Nezza Prime or not. Nope. Don't have it. Don't have that either. Well, there you go. Chinese polearm is good. So I don't think I want a D on here because the statuses aren't great for the crew. I don't remember. Let me look at the other one. So I just have 5 Vs. Can they make use of the galvanized mods? I thought they couldn't. I remember looking it up and remembering there's some weird complications with the Riven, but maybe the galvanized mods are actually okay. See if it's on the page or not. Seems not. They do get up to 200% bonus damage with 5/5 combat anyway, which makes up for it. So they're saying they can't make use of this. So I guess we just throw another V on there. That'll be fine. Have another crack at a steel path node. Excavation, disruption, defection, defense. Now we're going to do mobile defense. Isn't Hornet and Merciless redundant? Won't a faction mod net you better DPS? Well, my Merciless isn't max rank, so until that's max rank, I'm not really going to bother. And I tend not to use faction mods because I don't want to be changing my builds all the time. So theoretically, yes, that would be better. But also, I'm lazy, so that has to be added into the calculation.
Location reached.
I'm not really sure I like the sound of this gun either. It's like very harsh. I also don't know if the crew members can make use of the arcane either, now that I think about it. I turned damage numbers off earlier, just because I can't see a damn thing when I'm shooting these beam weapons. But it feels so alien, you can't even really tell if you're hitting stuff or not. May not even need the healer.
Find one and patch me in. Here is a terminal. Get me in. This will take a minute.
Another benefit of having the gaze for the crew is that with decent status chance and innate radiation, the whole enemy force gets immediately irradiated because their accuracy is not that great, and then they all start just shooting each other, so it adds a lot of survivability too. You can still mod for viral heat. But I was actually here trying to do a terminal, just running around shooting shit. Okay. Use Merciless, usually you drop the Serration. Yeah, I know, but I need Merciless to be full rank before I'm going to do that. I think I've done it on a few weapons already, like the Ignis, maybe the Brahma. But their damage is so crazy it doesn't really matter. Then there's another, maybe it's the Ogress, maybe it's the Tonkor, where the ramp up is so slow that I like to have it on there anyway. Just because it takes a while for the Merciless or the Galvanized mods to actually kick in. I still don't know what the skin I have on this weapon is. I definitely never bought it, but it just showed up randomly in my inventory while I was gone. I don't like it. Definitely prefer it over most of the default kick gun skins. Hopefully not the melee only Acolyte. Angst. That's Valkyrie, right? Wasn't sure if his one would work, but I think it is. I don't understand the kill prereq on galvanized mods. With a condition like that, how will they hold weaker weapons? Alright, good question. Kill trash mobs easily, which help fuel it. There are plenty of instances where I like the gun to be maximum power from the get-go.
Enemy is broken. Well done. Now get to extraction.
And so we learn the importance of clarity.
Hey, speaking of, I think I need like 7 or 8 more. That would be the next prime mod for you. What would be? I don't have primed Firestorm yet either. That's one I'm pretty sad that I missed. Oh damn, I only need 1 more. Primed Lightning Dash? I would love that. So I guess I need 10 more here. Only 1 more for primary. We're getting there. Ah. He was lying to me. Bit of sabotage. Prime Firestorm on Brammer is lowers, yeah. Definitely like to try that. Brammer is by far my favourite weapon at the moment. I farmed mine using Loki and Glaive Prime for 7 hours. Oh, you mean Merciless. I'll have to go through and do all the Steel Path missions anyway, so I'm not going crazy and farming it out.
Supply caches in the area, but I'm unable to pinpoint their exact location.
I'm gonna swap my pet before I forget again. Kind of gross looking. Increase their master's evasion by 40% until their next attack, or after 8 seconds whenever they kill an enemy. They're never going to kill an enemy, so... Evolving into its larval form upon death, increasing its master's evasion by 20% for 8 seconds when they kill an enemy, respawns into its true form after 30. So it never dies, which is the main thing. Never stays dead, rather. Fetch. $11 left. That'll do to begin. Jesus. Didn't mean to do that. guild to customize the physique? I didn't even know that was a thing. Medkit for the health regen. Well, if it never dies, it doesn't matter, right? Always comes back. A lot of evasion. Evasion is useless if you need to jump through hoops to activate it. I mean, you're not jumping through hoops. The cat does it randomly on its own. Seems fine. The down sister of Parvos is in a place where the execution prompt doesn't show up. Oof. 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 Is it worth taking a cooler tail for worse resistance? Haven't made my Volpa because I can't decide. I would say no. I would always go functionality over aesthetic. Depends on the kind of player you are, I guess. There you go, Raccoon's the opposite. Difference in survivability is negligible since it will just revive itself anyway. Sure, but the appearance is negligible because you'll never see it when you're actually playing the game, so... Seems irrelevant. Oh, hello. You know, I should have swapped to something that can kill Corpus. Guess we got there eventually, but... Only have to do one. Oh, hello.
Excavator is ready to go. Keep it powered and protected from enemy fire.
Taking pretty serious damage. Hopefully we can get this guy real quick. I don't think I've ever seen them coming down here before. Weird to have them just spread all over the hill. Hello, boys. Just in time.
Your hard work has just reward. Extraction is available if you choose.
I want the 9 towers, but it's cloned flesh. Not worth it, I don't think. I'm an aesthetics kind of person. I mean, Warframe isn't really that hard of a game, so you can go all in on aesthetics and still get everything done. Doesn't really matter if you miss out on like 10% efficiency or whatever. I just enjoy being efficient, so any little min-max I can do, why not? Unless it's a primed mod. A primed Bane, rather. Too lazy for that. How did my pet only get 900 affinity there? I thought they got a fair bit from me killing stuff. I think Ellie has the 9 tails thing going on. You get 0 from me killing stuff? Maybe it's just from the shared affinity of the party I'm thinking of. Right. Antigen is an easy choice. Least naked, coolest looking front part is also the most expensive, important mod. Aramon?
Destroy the reactor.
I guess for
Security. Watch out for
Animal Instinct, I didn't really think of that.
Each enemy is more powerful than before. Only with true mastery of the Tenno arsenal will you succeed.
I mean, I have to form them all like 3 or 4 times anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. Love getting cold procs. Since when does that not open?
Target found. Destroy it. Target destroyed. Proceed to the extraction point.
Didn't give a shit. Animal Instinct, yep. Do you alloy on all? You do. You do alloy on all. I did alloy on the Panzer, and now I'm doing robotic on the rest, I think. You have separate affinity? I think I was just misremembering how that worked. I don't really want to do defensive disruption with what I've got. And I don't think I could do defection either. Yeah, well, mobile defense is easy enough. Drone. The healer. Why? Just because robotics take less damage from toxin and slash. I wanted to see if that helped keep the thing alive for longer.
The canvas of war.
Less proc damage. It probably doesn't matter that much, especially at this level where it's actually dying. Oof. Some health back.
Here is a terminal. Get me in and get ready to defend.
Damn, these supers go nuts. I think I might take Axe charge off.
Move on. Got to find a terminal.
Ooh, damn. Got messed up.
This will take a moment. Heavy robotic signature detected.
Let's throw some Radprocs around. But I do want the affinity, so might as well kill it.
Still working on this. Continue to defend.
I wonder if you can still bust their helmets off. You can like disable all their abilities by just breaking their helmet. I don't see why they would have changed that. Always thought it was a cool little quirk. Very slow beatdown. Mine seems the worst because it's common damage types. Yeah, that's why I tried to go with the robotic. Gaze seems to be a better nuclear. I've heard that the Kuva nuclear is crazy good. I was kind of expecting it to be better than the Gaze.
Terminal spotted.
I've got it yet though.
Prepare to defend.
Oops.
Tenno. This will take a moment.
That guy absolutely just walked through the wall. Thanks. As long as he doesn't fuck up my terminal. Ooh, stun locked. Let me go. If she gets a hold of you and starts hitting you, like she just chains you, and it's kind of hard to do anything. Not sure what happened there.
As you conquer the foe, so you conquer yourself.
It is, but still low crit chance on that Gaze, and they nerfed its chain count. Nerfed, still a reliable primer. I don't really find the need for primers anymore. I guess maybe for disruption. I don't really have a set strategy for disruption yet. But apart from that, I don't stack anything anymore. Did you notice any drop in my kill time? Yeah, that's this, isn't it? Secondary dexterity, I think you can get. Damage to melee if you kill with your pistol. I'm avoiding defense, and I'm going to get to the point where the only nodes available are all defense. Guess there's always the Ropalist. Disruption, defection, defense. And that's all the nodes I've got available, so I have to do one of these. I kind of wanted to try Wisp on defection, so I guess I'll do that. Might as well while I've got 400% power strength. Same weapons will be fine. Prime CO melee, rinse repeat, still get stronger. Cold procs help in killing the disruption guys, yeah. Yeah, I usually use the operator stuff.
Your enemies have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
Yeah, gotta put that on there.
The crew here are Kabor defectives who merely rejected the violence they were created for. Rather than joining Steam Radio, they've chosen a different path, seeking a dream of existence where they would not be forced to commit more atrocities.
So I'm gonna get beat down while I'm doing this.
I've located the first group of survivors.
Just like...
Find them and escort them to the waiting transport. The infestation is airborne and it's slowly killing the crew. The med boosters scattered throughout the ship are their only hope for survival. Use this
No, I always forget about that.
for survivors.
Let's go, boys. Fucking zooming. Do I need to wait for that guy or not? Holy shit. That recoil though. That is indeed fast.
Scanning for additional crew. Survivors have just reached the safety of our transport. Keep them coming.
Poor Cavor, the Tenno led me right to you. Don't want to go anywhere.
Let the survivors know you're ready to keep moving.
Gives me PTSD flashbacks to when our clan farmed the event that introduced this mission type to get the Ignis blueprint. I don't really remember that. I have a very vague memory anyway. Pretty sure I soloed that because I didn't have anyone in my clan. You can use your second while hacking? As in use it and then hack. 44,000 healing. Your early pistols has built-in viral. You can mod it for corrosive and cold and have an easy time in disruption. There are a few weapons that have like innate viral and stuff now. Pacifist event? Maybe, yeah. One group of people that did a 12-hour run. I remember there were a lot of exploits going around back then. Another disruption. I guess we'll knock it out while I'm on Wisp. Thought it was fun because it was team play. Didn't like the mode otherwise. I think it was pretty interesting when it first came out. I don't really mind it now. You just really got to guide your way, make sure you put the right frames on.
Selling the latest in asset security. Conduits. Put the key in and you can pull the shinies out. The trick is, you've got to wait to open. Something
I completely misread it and thought this was another defection.
You don't get the goods.
I don't think I'll be able to kill anything with what I've got.
The bleeders are sold the tactics, not trying to kill you. That comes from your fighting, get this thing started.
And with the additional fire rate, you melt through the ammo pool. At least try. This attack speed is ridiculous. No, there was a key.
First key. Find a magic part this metaphor and take you with it. Keep it clear of the black conduit.
Plus they're always disrupting. Go through one.
Demo units on its way.
Not super clean, but not too bad. This guy's a lot of shield. Getting lit up without my wisps. Oh, that shield regen too. They're definitely not getting this guy. No.
Conduit down.
I don't think I have to do any more than one successfully, so it doesn't really matter.
Demo units. Don't let them near the conduit.
Definitely not a huge fan of the beam weapons with this much fire rate. Whenever I get that shield regen, it just completely ruins my chances of killing the damn thing. Fuck off. Where you going, mate? Alright. Struggled through that one. Yeah, I don't think so. That recoil is ridiculous. Not sure if I had the guy or not. I thought I threw a key in there. Am I crazy? There is no guy yet. Must have yoinked it out of my hand. Toxin damage is key for Corpus Disruption? Yeah. Well, I thought I was going into a defection, so... Wasn't too well prepared. I should have reloaded my other weapon. Shit. I definitely don't need an acolyte right now. Got him. Not so bad. Whew. That was rough, but we got there. The alarm sound the Demolists give off has been branded into my brain. I don't really feel much about this game mode at all, really. Four toxin ticks plus expedite suffering. Toxin ticks. As in... Why am I... Toxin procs, right? That's what you mean. Yeah. Oh. Defense, no. Don't really know how I would approach said corpus defense. Yeah, that'll probably do it. My first thought is always Loki, just to disarm everyone, but I don't really know how good that is. That's not what I wanted. Muscle memory is kicking in.
Here's what we can do for you. Open help.
I'm curious if I can make use of this or not. I haven't tried his stomp on Steel Path, I don't think. Speedver? But we don't do that. I'm a huge fan of this augment. Makes your stacks go up stupidly quick. I don't really have anything that I could drop. Like, I guess continuity would be the one. But then obviously I can't put the mod there anyway. That hurts to do. Lava Burst Augment actually works very well. It wasn't very good when I first got a hold of it. Maybe I used it wrong. Maybe Speedver with Spectro Siphon. I don't know how that would work. Speedver in SP, gotta be prepared. Yeah. No, I'm definitely not with my leveling weapons. I guess I could swap this to be something more useful while I'm here. There you go. Magnetic Radiation Toxin. Seems a bit better. Oh, Nidus Fashion? Thank you. Yeah, I'm usually less is more with fashion. One mission with Tenor Envoy and I already dislike it. Why is that? I've only heard good things. Minimalism is the wave, indeed. Ah, this tile. Stay right there, son. What's the range on this? Alright, I forgot about that. See how many stacks we can get, shall we? Now I've got no stacks on my pistol, so I can't kill these guys. This tower sucks? Yes, it does. Nidus Prime drops next Tuesday. Yeah, that means I'm gonna have to form the shit out of him too. Damn maggots, crowd controlling. Map is definitely not good for playing around with Nidus. Shoot me. Hopefully I don't have to kill this coin guy. Because that ain't gonna be happening. Certainly wants me to. Pretty sure he despawns because I do not have a chance in hell of killing him. Aesthetically and from a game design standpoint, I think Nidus is one of the best. All his abilities work well and they're not bad. I agree. Someone asked me the top 5 before. I guess if they asked me top 5 best design frames, Nidus and Nova would be up there, where they're just two really good frames that every ability has a good use and synergy. But yeah, Nidus would be on that list. He's just not one that like I immediately think of because he's not super meta. Unless you're playing into his strengths, he doesn't really steal the spotlight in most normal missions. So slow for normal missions, yeah. The crowd control from his maggots is quite good, which is annoying because I want the enemies coming to me, not getting paused miles away. Oh, damn. I didn't realize that had disappeared. But yeah, his maggots make you get so many stacks, it's crazy. Not sure if my stomps will affect the acolytes or not. want to let it hit me. But I need the energy. Okay. I had nothing to worry about. Yeah, thought I did this. Yeah, no, maggots are awesome. How do they increase his stacks? There's also the augment that I've got. I forget the exact wording of it. I know it's like every time a maggot blows up due to your 1, it gives you a free stack. Yeah, I forgot I wasn't. There we go. Connected to anyone. Down from there. I kind of want the infusion buff for Nidus. That'd be interesting. 300 stacks. 300% power strength or whatever you can get. And I'm still not at 300. I've been trying. Haven't played him in a while. Insatiable. More stacks when you're standing in Ravenous' goo pile. I saw it had something to do with the maggot. Maybe that's an innate maggot thing. It's been a while since I've looked at that. Oh, this map is awful. Hey, max stacks. Only took 15 minutes. I keep killing my damn healer. I really don't want to fail this far into the run. I'll get killed by a Bursa here. Damn, I can do sweet fuck all to that thing. Come back to that. Oh, there's two. What happens if you hack them? So you can only hack them after you killed them. I didn't think this through. I don't have anyone to lock my DR onto. Beat him down eventually. Looks like the other guy just died or vanished. I just can't get any form of shields. No. 300 stacks on Nidus, so my stomp was doing like 100, 150k. It's kind of crazy. It ain't maggot thing, okay. I wish that the Abundant Mutation Augment didn't place a cooldown on his passive. I feel like it has to. If you have 300 stacks, you're never going to run out. Right? So without the cooldown, you're not really under any kind of duress. I forgot that holding it makes the maggots visible through walls. Annoying that it doesn't say. Maggots benefit from the mutation, and each enemy hit adds to the mutation stack. Yeah. Whatever. Augment, pretty solid, I have to say. Having 300 stacks, I don't know if that's really necessary. No, you can't do anything to give Nidus shields. Nothing at all. Same for Naris. I guess I'll leave it for now. Infested Survival? Who haven't I played? Who would be good for that? I'm actually out of time, but I'll do this one last node. Versus drop loot after you hack. I don't know if they have any special drops apart from ammo. I guess I could take Sevagoth and try and use his 4. Yeah, why not? Try and use his 4 as his main... as the main killer. But we will take that just in case. Astro Twilight, yeah. See how we go here. First Tempo Royale dropped from a Bursa. At the end of mission, so you didn't get it. Ouch. It was worth hundreds. Rough. I remember those days.
Operative hunts for supplies. Set off the alarms to start.
So we've got to build our stack. Well, I guess not stacks, but build up our 4. What else does he have? Is 3 for damage. So the only problem with using his best combo is it has like a forward lunge. It's kind of annoying when you're trying to use it on guys that you've just clawed. Unless you're just doing the first hit for the proc, I guess. Let's get off this ledge. Jesus, you don't want to stand in that shit. I think I've still got viral. I probably should have put corrosive on. I've never actually run out of meter before. Yeah. Just turns it off. No special animation or anything. Very quick to build it up in Steel Path. The spawn rate's so crazy. I'm a pretty big fan of this first ability. I thought when I first saw Sevagoth in his like, where did I first see him actually? I was going to say his trailer, but I don't know if I've seen a trailer for him. Maybe just his abilities screen? Maybe I watched a video. I don't know, but I didn't think it was too impressive. I didn't think he'd be that good. It's pretty decent. Ooh, unless I do that. Get myself killed. Look at how slow the animation is. You don't lose your full bar, which is nice. Ooh, damn. Definitely struggling to keep energy up in Steel Path. I assume if you subsume an ability onto the mainframe, you wouldn't get it on the shadow, would you? But I guess if you put Spectro Siphon on the mainframe, you threw it down, and then you jump into this guy and pull all the enemies into it, you could still get crazy orbs. I don't know how useful that would be, but... Just trying to think of interesting things you could do with your pull. I'm curious if the disruptors ruin the damage on my melee weapons. You wouldn't think so. 'Cause they're not really an exalted weapon, right? Oh, we got an acolyte. Let's go for a 1v1. Hopefully it's Valkyrie. This is the bad one, isn't it? How can I move here? Hey, run out. God damn it. He's taken some pretty big ticks from the slash procs at the start. Thought it was coming up the other side. That's a slow Valkyrie you got there. He does feel very slow in that form. Not really conducive to how I like to play.
The spores have almost completely saturated the atmosphere.
That's how people run Assimilate Nyx these days. She's got an augment that I wanted to mess with. I don't know if I've got it yet. In Assimilate, it like yanks them in. I guess that's what you're talking about. Yes, another planet down. From playing Sevagoth, I eventually realized casting his shadows 3 before you switch back is rather beneficial. To use his 3's resource to fill Deathwell, huh? I mean, that makes sense, right? Oh, I see. So you can get away with possibly not casting in his main form. Spectre Rage with Augment on Assimilate Nyx, right? What's the other Nyx one, though? Singularity. Well, that didn't work. Create a ring every 3 seconds that drags in enemies at 15 meters per second. This is an old build. I'm just going to jump into a mission and turn that on and see what happens. And then I will end stream after that. What was that note I was just in? This, right? I guess that's going to scale on your range. Now that'll be weird. I don't want to go to survival because everyone's just rushing me, right? I guess Corpus survival would have been better.
These foes deserve
Yeah, that is what I should have done. I don't know what it is about. Well, you can't hear the song anyway, but this one's a banger. What is the last Corpus survival that I've had to do? I don't remember doing one in a while. I swear they used to be more common than that. Hopeless. It's actually annoying me that I can't find one now. Excavation would be fine to test this. Ilara? On which planet? Okay. Maybe I avoided it because of the symbol. Thank you.
Your enemies have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying to chalk you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
So the range is obviously nothing insane. I guess that's supposed to be useful for the explosion. I'm curious if I just went max range, if I could just use it to toggle and drag enemies in. And just drop a Brahma right in the middle there. Testing purposes, I have to find out. Is max range, natural talent. Not sure how useful that would be, but certainly interesting. I have to do it on the other Nyx. I don't want to run these builds. Okay. Still on Augur Reach. It's at 280. Gotta have Menticide on this one. What else? I didn't put the augment on, did I? Just try this and then I will end. As well bring this too. Really the ideal combination, but can't be bothered changing it. Just checked on the wiki and the augment isn't affected by ability range. Well, that completely ruins my day. Why, D? Why? You can tell we've got the Arcane Menticide helmet on because you can hear it. You can hear the I'm going fast sound when you're moving through the air like that. So sad that that's not affected by range. I don't really remember how the energy drain functions. I guess the more you take, the more it takes. So I'm getting cancelled way faster than I kind of wanted to. Not really much point in the steel path because the enemy spawns are so crazy anyway. Helmet Ivara? Or lava, yeah. Could have been really useful. I reckon that could have been some weird strat for sure. Oh, that's a shame. Could still use it with Assimilate Nyx to drag everyone into melee range. $29, not quite there. Go back on. Alright, well, I'm done. I went 20 minutes over. Back tomorrow. Keep working our way through. There's plenty of stuff to do for the time being. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you tomorrow.